Good morning. I want to welcome you to Sit Social Issues Time. I'm Francois, and these are my wonderful friends and co-hosts, Tildy, Gothamy. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning. So we have had an exciting time this morning. We're trying to calm down because we have someone that works with us that likes to make us laugh and clown every single time we are here. And what? I have no idea. And so we have a performer. In one episode, you will probably get an opportunity to see her do her Steve Urkel's greatest hits.
Oh my God.
So anyway, we will not put her on blast today. But anyway, so today's show is about jealousy. And so this morning, I have to admit, I was a little jealous of my friend right here. Not because of the Steve Urkel thing. She does that really well.
You're really jealous and want to talk like him.
I want some cheese. And so it's not the Steve Urkel thing. Trust. That's not what's going on. But she took a trip and went somewhere that I want to go to Vancouver.
Well, you can come next time.
On your money, though. I don't want to spend mine.
A suitcase?
And so, no, girl, that's going to have to be a really big suitcase for me to get in. And you to wheel it around, I got to have food and entertainment in it. So, no, that's not even happening. But we were talking about, at some point, jealousy in women. Is that really an issue that women have?
Whew.
Why?
What the etiology of jealousy is, who knows? It's there. It's there. I don't know if it's necessarily an innate behavior, but it's definitely a learned behavior. And it's very, very prevalent.
So did we start off from birth being jealous? Is it something that was handed down from caveman times where I wanted to beat you because you were looking at my man? What
Drag you by the hair.
Yeah, and we were fighting because he was going after that meat for us to eat. You were going after.
You know, I don't know if I would believe that or not.
Really?
Simply because you watch babies, right? Little 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, and some of them are so giving, willing to share. And while other kids are mine,
Right.
or I do, or so
true.
I don't know if it is innate or not, because I don't think we're necessarily born, but maybe it's a more of a learned behavior of what we see or experience.
Because the only innate behavior that babies are born with is the fear. Fear. We're all born with fear. But like Tildy said, and what I said earlier, I think it's a learned behavior. And as we go, as we're around people, as we're around adults, we learn it.
Okay, so I want to propose something to you. Tango did this article that's talked about what makes 77% of women jealous. And they talked about jealousy in relationships. So where does that come from for people? In the clip she talked about women are jealous of emotional infidelity. Men are jealous because you're giving it to somebody else. What is that about? Is it true?
I'd say women are jealous if you're giving it to somebody else too.
Yes, I agree. I disagree with her on that.
I totally agree with Tildy. Totally agree with that.
Yeah, I didn't like that. It was so.
I'm like, I'm not sure if I can agree with that. I think it's situation by situation, and some men are more jealous in this aspect, and some women are more jealous. And I guess it depends on who you're talking to,
right?
And what you're around, and what the situation and the dynamic is.
Well, and I think on the emotional side of things, and becoming jealous emotionally, I think it also sometimes shows an emotional immaturity on either one's part.
Right.
Whether you're male or female, and you're jealous because your significant other is looking at somebody else or admiring somebody else. I think that goes back a little bit to the emotional maturity and how insecure or secure you are with yourself.
Right.
So I think there's definitely a different dichotomy that can go on with
Absolutely.
different personalities, different maturity levels, different genders.
And a certain level of trust as well,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Trusting yourself and then trusting the other person as well. So
Right. Well, they also talk about in this article that women are more jealous than men. It said 73% of women admitted to feeling jealous as opposed to 27% of men.
Wow.
that's a big number.
Right.
It's a huge difference too.
So is it based upon the emotional piece that women are more emotional beings than men may be? Because what's interesting to me, I think about back in high school, and I remember when guys would date the same girl, they were okay with each other doing that. girls did not deal well thinking that their friends were after the same guy. So is it the perception for men seeing each other as, you know, brothers in this process that, hey, if you're happy, I'm happy too, and we can all be happy, and women don't necessarily see it in the same way? What do you think?
We're just wired differently. I think we're just emotional beings in general. I think we're born that way. You know, I think we tend to take things a little bit more personally and have a tendency to blow it out of proportion.
Yeah.
Especially when there's nothing really there.
But it's interesting watching as people are growing up, how they are shaped and formed by what they see and the images that they get around what's acceptable in relationship and what's not. And I think you have a society that says for men, that kind of behavior is acceptable. For women, I think we've been conditioned more than it is being this innate piece. Maybe it's the conditioning that we've been grown up to believe that we cannot do that, you know, in the same way that men can. And men are patted, I guess, on the head for doing that, and women are not looked at the same way.
Kind of double standards.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go again.
Yes.
It just starts in the home, right? The way our parents might rear us. Do you think that plays a role in, you know, the level of jealousy that we feel?
I think, yes, absolutely, but also the people that we surround ourselves with as adolescents, you know, whether we're in a group setting that tends to be on the catty jealousy side, you know, side of things. I think that can shape and mold us too as we grow up and later. And going back to your point, you know, about male and female differences, I think it is emotional, you know, where guys can let go really easily most of the time, but for us, if we're emotionally attached, whether or not we've gone from one relationship to another, you still kind of have that feeling or emotional connection to the person that you were in a relationship with previously. So it takes us a little bit longer to maybe move forward.
But I wonder if it's even that. I think it's a scarcity idea, to be very honest, because when you look at the number of men to women, there are more women. And I think that maybe it's a scarcity idea that we're going, there's not enough, and I've got to compete with you because I don't have the same opportunities. And men see it as because they have more opportunities that they can behave in a very different way. I wonder if that's it.
Reminds me of The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. You know, one guy to 25 women and one girl to, you know, 25 men.
Yeah.
Well, going back to the innate part in us, you know, is that part of us innately born in us in where we're competitive? Because, you know, at that point, does jealousy become competitiveness when we're wanting the same partner or the same boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it might be? Is that something that happens naturally for women? You know, the studies have shown that women in a group together, there's no competitiveness really. Usually we're very collaborative, very social beings, wanting to build relationships. As soon as you throw a man into the mix, into the room, it changes the whole dynamics, and the competitiveness comes out in all of us, or in most of us. So I'm wondering if that's just something that's innately born in us, you know, to where it's our makeup, it's in our DNA to kind of survival skills, you know, and that's how it shows up in an ugly way.
Yeah, but I think men, they have that same piece too. It's just how it's directed. Yeah. And I think that's probably the bigger issue is that the jealousy is there, but the way that we express it and the way that it's directed is very different. So the other piece of this survey I want to bring up is they said single women are jealous of their married friends.
I'm not.
So we've been talking about weddings a lot.
Oh my gosh, this just, I don't know whether to cry or laugh at this point. Not too long ago, my sister received some messages from a childhood friend. And in a nutshell, basically, she said that, you know, I'm single since I am single, and being the age that I am, I blocked her from my Facebook because there were some comments being made and I wasn't very pleased, so I blocked her. So what happened was she went back to my sister and asked me, well, she probably blocked me because, you know, she's really single and, you know, she's probably jealous because I'm happily married. And, you know, most single women that are this age are jealous of married couples. So to all my married couples and engaged couples, I hate all of you because I'm so jealous and I'm very depressed.
I'm sorry.
I I hate you.
I'm sorry.
So I'm sorry. I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
Your happiness is not defined by what something or someone has. Happiness comes from within.
Yeah.
And if you're happy with yourself, you're going to be happy in the world.
Well, and see, where I disagree with the statement that women are, upset, women have to understand that just because people have a piece of paper does not necessarily guarantee that there's happiness.
Right.
You're just in a relationship. And so I think that the idea that everybody who's married is happy and the people are jealous of that, let's be real, there are a lot of people that are married that are lonely.
Exactly.
So I just I marvel at people who even believe
Say
that,
something like that.
And there are a lot of people that were married that are not married anymore because of their unhappiness.
Right.
And the way she referred to this as it's a phenomenon going on. I don't remember. Ladies, do you recall a phenomenon like
No.
this? I think it's individually based. So you can't generalize the entire female population. Those that are single are very, unhappy of their married friends.
Well, and you and I were talking about this. Is this cultural?
Yeah.
And, is this, for your culture, the Indian culture, is it normal for her to think that way?
Right.
Is it normal for Hispanics to think that way?
Right.
So, and I think from that perspective, and you can answer this better than I can, obviously, from the Indian culture perspective, is that normal for them to think
There's
that
something wrong.
there's something wrong?
Oh, of course. And you're right. Culture does have to play.
It does.
But you can't sit and categorize and stereotype everyone. You have to change that mindset and get away from
culture
that.
doesn't give permission for ignorance.
Right.
And
You're right.
that's what a statement like that
would be.
It's
like a cop-out.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and it seems like just from a societal standpoint, there is a rush when women aren't married by a certain age that we begin to make judgments on women. When men, don't do that, then it's, he's, waiting to make his career happen, and he's sowing his wild oats, and it's a very different
Weighing
view.
his options.
Yeah, because even for me, right after I got married, the issue became, was you're getting married, and I got married, and then it was, so when you're having babies,
Right.
you gotta have babies, and then when I have one, it's like, are you having another? It's like, oh my God, is there some checklist that I missed?
Right.
Nobody told me that, but I think that's how society is.
But it shouldn't be a form of jealousy. You should be happy for your friends.
Right.
You shouldn't develop into, jealousy. Of course, the thought will cross your mind. Oh, wow, I wish I was, married too. But I don't wish bad upon Froswar Tildy.
You're about to kill him.
No, nothing like that.
And in this case of this person, that you're dealing with, jealousy almost becomes a judgment.
Right.
A form of judgment, which is not healthy at all.
And that's the difference between envy and jealousy, right? Envy normally doesn't turn into rage and another form, another level of. It just mind boggles me sometimes.
So really, the issue is with that woman
Yeah.
than anything else. So there's another point that they bring up too that I want to get in is they say married women distrust their husbands. Do all married women? I'm not married, so I don't. But I have this belief that if you're going to do what you're going to do, you will do it regardless if you're married or single. So I think when people spend so much time trying to police other people, I think it's very dangerous. And so for women who do that, I'm not in that space, so I can't even speak to it, even though I am married. That's crazy to me.
It's like they just don't know any better, so just you're dealing with it.
Yeah.
So typically when we think about jealousy, what are things that folks are jealous of? Especially with women, what do we typically look at each other and go,
Careers.
How?
Careers. Oh, she has a higher role than I do in the company.
That's true.
I wonder what I can do if I kiss the boss's butt and this and that.
You see, and not seeing the hard work, the day to day of what it looks like, but you don't know what they go through to get in that position.
I think looks are another.
Looks.
Definitely.
And that's crazy to me because it's like it would be different if you could go to Sears. and seriously, and you could go pick out what you want to look like. That nose, mine.
Right.
And then I could beat you down because I put that money on that nose. You need to leave. I paid more than you did. You stole my nose. I mean, it'd be very different.
The body auction.
Yeah. I mean, that's so crazy to me. Right. So my thing is, why are you mad at people? Go beat up their parents.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's who created them, so that's just so dumb. So just go grab her mom and go, I can't believe you had a baby who looked that good. I hate you.
I want your left eye and your right nostril.
That's mine. I mean, so to me, just the idea of you're mad at somebody for something that they had no control over,
right.
that is so dumb.
It's so petty. It's so
It
petty.
is.
But it's so
It
insecure.
Yeah, it's so insignificant too, right?
Dumb. And I'm one who I like to compliment. So I will see a woman who has beautiful legs. I'm like, wow,
Right.
love it. I mean, for me to be mad about it, what am I going to do? To go chop off her legs and try to attach them? I mean, it's just the ideal of it. It's a waste of energy and time to be mad about things like career.
Exactly.
You know, because you have to think about what people go through and put into it, or looks that they had nothing to do with. Any other areas?
So what's really interesting, I just want to piggyback on that thought. You give a compliment to somebody, right? And then right after, it's like, oh my God, I hated that skirt. But yet you just gave her a compliment and she looks beautiful.
Crazy.
You know? I see that on TV shows so much, and it's becoming so common. You say some, Mean Girls.
Yeah, it really is.
Mean Girls. That reminds me of Mean Girls.
It is.
So
it is. And another area is attention, where women get really mad about people getting attention.
More attention than the
Social
other.
media, I think, contributes to that a lot, especially for young girls. When you look at the like button on Facebook, it's probably one of the most damaging things that has ever been created. Because when someone doesn't like your picture, oh my God, right? You get 3 likes. You know, 3 likes for nobody likes what I look like.
And it's amazing how people, you ask yourself, well, she got like 5 likes when she posted that photo. Why didn't I only got 2.
Right, right. It's crazy how attention does that. Or it looks like their life is together.
Yeah.
And that's the other one, that people have the big houses and they're driving the cars and we go, I hate
They're
them.
traveling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sitting here with 2 ladies that travel all the time. I don't know where this jealousy is rooting from.
But you do it when you want to, and you do too. I do it when somebody says, you need to take a trip. Okay. Pack it up, let's roll. Yeah, so that's different. Anyway. So that's another issue that we sometimes feel a little twinge when we see people that look like they've got it together.
Right.
And that's scary because, again, we don't know what people go through to get to where they are. There's a singer named K. Michelle who started this kind of beef with Tamar and saying that she looks like a Muppet. And it was all over social media. K. Michelle was on the radio and called her this name. And so it just really blew up and other people started calling her this. And so the idea that a celebrity, you know, who's in this kind of role has to deal with that kind of bullying speaks volumes about what people go through in everyday life. She's just an example of what a lot of people go through even on social media.
It's really sad. It's really
Well,
sad.
and you're right, it is a form of bullying.
It
You
is.
know, I mean, you can obviously see from her reaction even now. I don't know how long it's been since this started, but I mean, it brings up such really sad emotions in her, you know, and it would for me too if I was having to go through that. So I think going back to the social media thing, I think it's really it's great, you know, from one perspective, but it's also can be a really negative effect on people, especially if you are of the type that will look to see how many likes you get or to really care what people think or say about you via social media, and aren't able to not allow yourself to absorb those things that are said, you know, and done.
Right.
So the sensitivity level is just really high.
I agree. And like you said earlier, bullying is one of the behaviors that's born from jealousy. You have your silent bullying and you have your direct bullying, and direct bullying is harsh. And putting it together with silence even gets worse.
Yeah, and the cyberbullying piece is becoming even greater. You're seeing more female aggression that's happening, where fights are being filmed of girls. And you're seeing that more on social media that came from started from some jealousy. There was one where it was a girl who was mad because she thought this other girl was talking to her boyfriend, and I mean, she just beats her up, and the other girls are just sitting there. You know, there's another incident at McDonald's in New York, girls fighting with each other over, you know, clothes or boys.
Right.
And so to see the idea of how jealousy really does then move into bullying and violence,
Right.
you know, there's a danger.
Right.
There was a movie on Lifetime, I'm not sure if both of you have ever seen it. It's called Girl Fight. And that was the root. It was a boy problem. And they filmed this entire thing on YouTube. They all beat up on this one little girl. She was about 15
Wow.
or 16 years old. And it was a
That's
Lifetime
crazy.
movie. It's
It is.
sad. And, you know, the teenage girls need to understand, oh my God, no boy is
Yeah.
that worth it, especially that
No.
at that young of an age. You know, why would you want to fight over something so mediocre?
Yeah. Well, you
Like
know,
that.
and talking about this, because one of the reasons we're doing this show
Right.
is to bring stuff to light, but also talk about solutions, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think for the social media, I think what you did in blocking this person right from the get-go
Right.
before it escalated,
Exactly.
Yes.
you know, is a perfect example of what we as women can do, or people can do in general.
Right.
You know, to stop that from escalating to something like this, you know,
Right.
that totally got out of control.
Absolutely. We need to be sensible and, you know,
Yes.
understand, did that actually, you know, apply to me? And if it didn't, let's move on.
Right. And how do you just live your life? I
Right.
mean, where you don't allow those situations to become bondage for you,
Right.
that you can't move through. They immobilize you because of what others think.
Yeah.
That you really can move through those situations and it turns out well.
Yeah.
Right. Having the ability to recognize and acknowledge, you know what, I am jealous. Let me say it. I am, but then move on. Get away from it and just move on with your life.
I like what you're saying because it's own it. And I think we live in a society that we like to put it off on other people. I'm jealous because you did it
Yeah.
versus owning how you feel about it. And I like when she said the self-inventory piece. I think all of us, regardless if it's jealousy or whatever we're doing with, we have to do these self-inventory, these checks to see why do I feel this way? What is the trigger that causes that? And then how do you use it in a way that can be beneficial to you in your life?
Right.
I agree.
Exactly.
So any other takeaways or call to action that you would give women who are experiencing this? Any experiences that you have you want to share with our audience?
I think I've already.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, she shared.
You know, when it
Yeah.
comes to social media, I just want to say, just get rid of it. Get rid of it from your life because it's going to make you feel even worse, right? Just knowing that this person said it. Okay, they said it. Let's delete it and then go move forward.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think it's imperative to own it. And also for us as women to be able to identify jealousy if somebody else is speaking
Right.
out of jealousy, to gently remind them that that's not helpful. You know, and to look out for one another
Right.
in those
Right.
types of situations where, you know, whether it's us, I would want for either one of you or anybody to, if I'm speaking out of jealousy, to be able to say, hey, you know, what do you mean by that? Or are you sure you want to go down that path? You know, so I think for us to clean up
Right.
our own act.
Right.
And I
you
think
know?
that's healthy and it builds healthy and positive relationships
Yeah.
amongst women. It's like when we acknowledge it, when we're able to, you know, check each other.
Yeah.
I think that's always very helpful.
Right.
Well, and I think it comes to a point of how do you appreciate the beauty and the life that other people have, that you look at it as a way of aspirations for your
Right.
life instead of seeing it as a detriment.
Exactly.
And I think it helps build who you are. There are a lot of people that I look at and I love what they have and certain character traits that I want. And instead of going, I'm going to kill her because she has it, I think it really for me is how do I begin to be in partnership with this woman who can teach me and serve as a guide on my journey. And so it becomes something that builds who I am. And I think that's the key that I want people to walk away with is when you're feeling that, how do you turn it into something positive and begin to see women in their fullness
Right.
and not want to take away from who they are?
You want to be more inspired versus
Yes.
jealous.
Right.
Yeah.
And so hopefully our audience was inspired today by our talk on jealousy. We've been having some amazing conversations
Yes, we have.
on set and offset.
But you won't see these.
That you won't see those, especially our singer and performer. So again, thank you for joining us today. My
you.
wonderful co-host, thank you for being here, and we will see you next time on
you.
Thank
Set.
you. Have a great day.